Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakat, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teacheth the Bible in 100% truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, especially the 144,000 who consist of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, today I'm looking at a particular dream. I came across this particular video here. This was entitled "My Daughter Had a Dream About Deliverance," and it's from the channel called GMS Truth Be Told, which I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of. They show a lot of, I believe this channel, they show a lot of chariots, sightings, and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure of the brother's name. He didn't mention his name in the particular video. It just popped up on my feed, and obviously, this title drew me in. My daughter had a dream about deliverance. And I believe there's another part here. There's another link which I haven't actually clicked on yet, but yeah, so watching this video obviously was the inspiration for me to make this particular video that I'm making now. And so, as you can see here, it's about 20 minutes long. And the GMS, brother belonging to GMS, I think it's his daughter is speaking on the microphone, and she's explaining a dream that she had. I believe it's probably recently, and I think she might have even went into two dreams. I've listened to it a couple of times, and I think she's mentioned multiple dreams, and I think that obviously think she was kind of mentioning one particular dream in this particular video. She was describing one dream, but then I think she was mentioning other dreams that she's had in the past. And so, yeah, hearing that obviously gave me the inspiration for this particular video. This is Joel chapter 2 and 28, and it says, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." It says, "Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions." And this quote from Joel is repeated by Apostle Peter, the head of the apostles, in Acts chapter 2 and 17. It says, "And again, and it shall come to pass in the last days, saith the Most High, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." You could say, you could have a dream, and then you could see a vision within the dream. You would call it a dream, but really it would be a vision if it's something that's provided by the Most High, and it's showing you things that are to come to pass in the future. Then they're things relating to prophecy. And so obviously, your child, your son, your daughter, for them to then repeat what they saw, ultimately they're speaking prophecy. Whether they know the scriptures or not, they describe what they see. Children, they're obviously quite still pure compared to what we are as adults. They haven't been tainted by this world. I put it that way. The same way we have as adults. So they see a lot more of these. Maybe they see like dreams, visions, or sometimes you get children, they see spirits and things. Even my own daughter, she's 5 now, and about a year ago she's in. So at the minute she's in year 1 at school, And last year she was in reception, and she came home one day, and obviously they go in there, they're just making him do silly stuff, do draw this, draw that. And she showed me. She said, "Oh, look, I drew. I made a picture of a spaceship." And when I looked at it, it's kind of like what we expect a chariot to be. With the windows. Ezekiel describes, the wheel within a wheel, and he describes obviously the windows round about, so on and so forth. You can see it now on the screen. This is So she came home at 40. She's 4 years old. A year ago, she was 4, and she came home, presented me with this. And you kind of think to yourself, "Damn, where did you get the idea for the spaceship, the so-called spaceship that she's calling it? How did you get the idea for that? It could be through the spirit. You don't know if she's had a dream, or she's, just something appears in their mind. They see what they see, and then they make a drawing. So children are innocent like that. The same way animals, they always pick up spirits. They can sense a spirit maybe before the human can. If there's a particular type of presence of a particular type of spirit. So yeah, back to Joel. I mean, so we're in the last days. We're expecting two major prophecies to come to pass. The MOTB, Revelation chapter 13, the digitization of the worldwide monetary system, and then being told to take a device under the skin in order to be a part of that worldwide monetary system. And then you've got World War III, the destruction. And so we're very close. We believe 2025 is going to be, like a really eventful year. According to prophecy, according to these particular two prophecies, Jacob's trouble. And so we're in that time. We're in the last of the last days. In the very latter end. And so, like I say, this particular brother, he's had his daughter speaking of is what she's seen in this particular dream, and obviously some of the things that when I heard it, obviously some things they obviously got my mind working in a certain direction. So when you can do it now and come back to this video, or you can go to this video now, just click on the link if you haven't seen it, and you can hear. It's just 20 minutes, and you'll hear what she describes. And part of it is, I think she describes things in the kingdom of heaven, and then part of it, what she describes, is definitely with the destruction, especially being in America, Babylon the Great, which is due to be completely destroyed by nuclear ICBM in World War III, according to Bible prophecy. And so, I'm not going to go through every little detail. Obviously, you could listen to the video yourself to get a full description of what she's saying, what she's describing, and things like that. But there were some main topics which she mentioned. And obviously, like I say, she mentioned the destruction. So she mentioned being in a house, and then a nuclear ICBM, or missile. I think she used the word missile, hitting the ground. I believe like outside. Now, obviously, you see, this is where like this whole dream, vision, experience. Let's call it a vision. The experience. It's of a higher power. So you'll see things in dreams or visions. Let's call them visions. You'll see them, these particular things, and it's like you're shown something. It whatever comes to pass could be exactly the way you've seen it, or what you're seeing could be showing you a certain type of message, but it might not happen in that particular way. So, for example, for a missile to hit, close by, that would be, and then to sit there and watch it, that's not going to be possible, because obviously everything within its close proximity is going to be destroyed. But obviously, this is a vision, a dream. So the Most High is putting a message in there. Don't forget what I always explain when I first came into this truth, when I found out I was a Hebrew Israelite, that was through a vision. And what I saw in that vision, the first thing was the earth. And I've explained it many times. I saw the earth and I saw this this vine or this root growing over the earth. And it was the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, and they came out and they went into different parts of the earth, and they mingled with into other religions, and eventually this root made its way to America, went to South America, then America, and then the Most High cut but the sword through America. And so it went on, like I've explained before, like there's other parts to it I saw, but when you think of that particular part that I've described many times, what you're seeing is you're seeing a message given to you. The message is in the scriptures, but it's shown to you in a picture form. So Yahweh Bashim Yahushai shows you in a way, in their way. It's in a this is the earth, and look at this growing over it. That's the children of Israel. We read about it, and that's why we read the scriptures like that. I always used to think that what I saw was Ezekiel 17, because I used to think, well, Ezekiel 17 talks about, a vine of low stature, withering, but then the Most High turns it around, and that vine of low stature becomes, a fruitful plant, a fruitful flower, if you like, or I can't really remember the wording, but I always used to think that, because what I saw was a picture, an image. It showed me a message. You read in the scriptures, you see these parables, and so they're like, you're shown pictures. They use the word, the Most High's use the words in parable form to show you a picture in your mind, to describe to you a scenario, so you understand the scenario. So when Revelation 13 talks about, he had two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon, your mind imagines this thing, and you go, well, that's not a real thing, that's parabolic. You link it up to beast system, EU, NATO, so on and so forth, and it makes sense. So like I say, sometimes you see things, they're literal. Sometimes even if it's in a dream and you're seeing things play out, they're parabolic to, in terms of what they actually mean or what they represent. So yeah, first of all, the young girl, she's describing this scenario, and with this missile hitting the ground, she's I mean, she sounds like a she's young girl, but she's describing seeing people's body parts, and thrown all over the place. So, but she's she took it quite well. So that's obviously the spirit is on her to absorb it and understand it and appreciate, take it in and appreciate it. She spoke of of Yahweh. I think she's mentioned Yahweh Shai. She in one point she mentioned him stamping on people with his foot, and the brother, her father, said, I think he sort of pushed her on it a little bit, and she then came back with, he tapped his foot, and when he tapped his foot, he crushed people, he squashed people, he killed them, and obviously that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. So you're seeing an action within that vision dream format of Yahweh Shai, stamping on grapes, but the grapes are people, and that's what we read of here. And this is Revelation chapter 14. Verse 20 goes on to say, and the winepress was trodden without the city, and the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. So, this is the return of Yahushai being compared to, if you like, a harvest, a time, when the harvest of the earth is ripe. And obviously, it's, when you're in a wine press, you're stamping on grapes. So, I know someone else who's had this similar type of dream to that. He said that he saw, he was in a dream, there's people screaming, loads of people screaming round about. He couldn't understand what was happening. So he's like looking around, and then someone said to him, like, "No, look up there." So he looked up there, and he saw this giant, and the giant was so, his head was so far away that you couldn't see his face, and he was just stamping on people, the same way that this young girl described. She described him as tapping his foot on people. The person that I know, he described it as him actually stamping, just straight up, just stamping them out, bang, bang, bang. But it was stamping multiple people out at once. So he saw this in a vision, which is a dream form, and obviously Yahweh Shai use images, rolling images, rather than words to describe what you read in the words. So it's definitely a vision. It's all related to prophecy. So, people of the world will call that a coincidence. Obviously, we know it's through the Spirit. That same Spirit has been poured out. So you have one man I know, like I say, the man I know, he's in his 40s. He's had this. He believes in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He's had this particular dream. He's had a few, and people always tell me their dreams, and I remember that particular one. But then you've got this young girl all the way over in America, Babylon the Great, having seen one part of her dream, relates exactly to what he saw. So, and it relates to Revelation chapter 14. So, we know this is the Spirit of the Most High being poured out upon the children of Israel. And our spirit bears witness with the Spirit that we are the children of Israel. And Vocab Malone scratching his head, trying to change that, but he can't. And we witness it, we know it. We don't need someone to confirm it for us. The Spirit has shown us something. We read in the book, we see it, we understand, and it all makes sense. So, that was one aspect that she went into, and another aspect she went into, and it made me think of Malachi. This is Malachi chapter 3, verse 1. I'll start off just the first 3 verses. It says, "Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith Yahweh of hosts." So this is talking of John the Baptist preparing the way for Yahushai, Yahushai being the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. It says, "Behold, he shall come." It says, "But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like a fuller's soap." Obviously, refiners, of metal, they use fire to refine the metal, gold, silver, so on and so forth. And fuller's soap, pretty much represents a cleaning agent. When you look at the top here, it's entitled "The Purifier." It says, "And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahweh an offering in righteousness." It says, "Then shall the offering of Yahweh and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Yahweh, as in the days of old, as in the former years." So, the question remains, but who may abide in the day of his coming? And obviously what this young girl saw, she saw, elements of the kingdom, elements of the coming of Yahushai, so on and so forth. She said she was, bear witness to her father having spiritual power, which is what the scriptures tell us. The Most High will raise up a standard when the enemy shall come in like a flood. And obviously, that's what she was speaking of. She spoke of Yahushai taking out people. In one instance, I believe she's got quite a timid voice. So I was kind of listening quite hard to kind of hear what she was saying. Sometimes I couldn't quite understand the pronunciation. So I believe what she was trying to say was that Yahushai was, when people were looking at him, their eyes were bleeding. So you imagine that, and this is what we're trying to tell you. This thing ain't no joke. When we read these scriptures to you, this ain't no bedtime story for youngsters. Even when the Most High pours His Spirit out on a youngster, you think what the youngster wants a bedtime story. She's breaking down the scriptures to you, and she's showing you exactly. We don't know if these types of things are going to happen exactly like that, but I mean, look at what she's talking about. People, Edomites, looking at Yahushai, and from looking at him, their eyes start to bleed. He's the purifier. So what happens if you're impure and you look at him and you're face to face with that spirit? What do you think would happen? We're talking about the Son of the Most High. And she even mentioned at one point to him, I think she said that shooting lasers that coming out of his eyes. She said that he lasered their eyes out. He lasered people's eyes out, and their eyes were popping out, and there was a hole in them, I think she said. So, that's a gruesome image. That's a very gruesome image. I mean, it's the day of the Lord. This is what I'm saying. This ain't no bedtime story. We're breaking down the return of the Son of the Most High, who's pissed. He's pissed he was put on the cross. He's pissed he had to go through all that, but he did it. He obviously did it for the Most High, his Father. He did it for the elect. That's why we hope to be of that number. But yeah, when with him, looking at, as she's described in her dream, with Yahushua looking at people, looking at Edomites, and them looking at him back, and then their eyes starting to bleed. You start to get an image. You go through the scriptures, a dark, gloomy day. The young girl talks about a chariot coming over the sky, so big that it blocked all the sunlight. Bigger than the earth. Again, that's in the scriptures. You got to think of nuclear ICBMs are going to be hitting America. The earth's going to be rocking to and fro. There's going to be wind. There's going to be rain. It's going to be dark. The Most High is bringing judgment to the world, to 9 billion people. And He has to make it so that nobody can escape. And so that's why, even if you're not in America, you're not in the area where it's going to be totally obliterated. You've got Israel, the land of Israel, the small hats of the minute. That land will be totally burnt up and destroyed, cleansed with fire, and rebuilt back up in the future. America will not be. But even around the world, people are going to be having problems. Scriptures do say that some will be, eating and drinking, marrying on the day of, when the Most High comes, but when Yahushua comes back. But even then, still, when those ICBMs start to hit America, the Earth's going to rock, land's going to crack, land masses are going to move. We're going to end up with a new map. And Yahushua is turning the world upside down. So, when we say things like that, we're just touching the surface. I mean, this young girl seen something. She saw something. The same way I can say to you, look, the Most High showed me the children of Israel coming out of Egypt in the form of a vine growing over. I used to think, I don't think I finished saying what I was saying earlier. I used to think that was Ezekiel 17. But recently, within the last three months or so, I started to realize what the Most High showed me was what Apostle Paul talks about, which is the wild olive branch. That's what I saw. And obviously it was growing. And I mentioned before, it was like a tree. So it's like you got the olive tree, and I've mentioned before in previous videos, trying to remember what I saw in that vision. I saw this vine. Then I kind of related it to a tree because a tree had a certain type of format, and it left two types of seeds, one good, one bad. And every time this vine came across a new religion, obviously it left one bad seed and one good seed. So I didn't finish saying that earlier when I mentioned Ezekiel 17. I used to think it was Ezekiel 17, but only recently I started to realize what the Most High showed me was the wild olive branch. But what I'm saying is, if I'm saying that to you, I'm saying, look, that's how the Most High showed it to me. So then you realize that that's kind of like that is a something that's like a higher level message. It's not a message of a human, of a man, to show you in that form. And the way that this young girl's describing everything, is sent by a higher power. And then she's talking about all these particular incidences, with their eyes and so on and so forth. And then you start to really realize, how gruesome, how what's actually going to happen on this day. You've really got to take it into account. Especially in America with the ICBMs, all the trouble leading up to it, Jacob's trouble, so on and so forth, and it's all going to reach a pinnacle in the day of the Lord. A day, Jacob's trouble is a time like never been seen before, but so is the day of the Lord. It's a day. The day of the Lord is really a day like never been seen before because it's the pinnacle of the time like never been seen before. So, the purifier is coming. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. The question is, the elect. You read in the scriptures, the only people that will, pretty much survive judgment in this time and be delivered out of the way, are known as the elect, a certain remnant of the children of Israel, a certain portion. And those particular people, they're exempt from judgment. But everybody out on the planet Earth outside of that is on the list. So as it says here, it's entitled "The Purifier." When Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai comes to judge, he comes to judge everybody outside of that, outside of the elect. There's a lot of people, like I said before, he's got to leave no room to escape. So one other thing, last thing that she goes into that I want to highlight is she mentioned the eyes. She mentioned it quite a lot, quite a few times. She mentioned, multiple people's eyes, and obviously that got the spirit working within my mind. Now you look up the words eyes and flame, you're going to come up with Revelation chapters 1, 2, and 19. Obviously Revelation chapter 1, we have a description here of Yahweh Shai. This is John on the Isle of Patmos, and I'll just start at verse 9. It says, I, John, whom also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Yahweh Shai, the anointed, was in the isle that is called Patmos for the word of the Most High and for the testimony of Yahweh Shai. It says here, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and what thou seest, write in a book and send it to the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. It says, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me. So this is John speaking. He's described, he's heard his voice, and he turned to see the voice that spake with me. And it says, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks, and in the midst of 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. So obviously he's talking of Yahweh Shai. It says here, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Goes on to say his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. It says, and he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp two-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in strength. So this is John's, Apostle John's description of Yahushai, and obviously verse 14 says his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And so when concentrating on that particular part, and his eyes being as a flame of fire, there are you can people go into different beliefs with that. My understanding is that there's going to be a particular glow about the eyes, because that's what a flame does. A flame glows and it flickers, and it kind of has a sparkle. Obviously this represents spiritual power. Yahushai, it says, the scriptures say that I will not meet thee as a man. And obviously he's coming back, in an angelic body with angelic powers, with an angelic army and angelic vehicles. And going back to the young girl's dream, obviously, like I say, she's mentioned the color of Yahushai's eyes. Another particular angel, I'm not sure if she mentioned anybody else's eyes, but she did mention it a couple of times. Yeah, when you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 51, this is Apostle Paul. It says, behold, I show you a mystery. It says, we shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, so as quick as it takes to blink. It says, at the last trump, it says, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. It says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immorality. It says, so when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, it says, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. And so what Apostle Paul's talking about is the moment when Yahushai arrives. The nuclear ICBMs, World War III will already be on the way. The MOTB will already been made mandatory across the earth. Jacob's trouble will be in full flow. And then the nuclear ICBMs will start to hit America. And at that particular moment, this is when the chariot arrives, the angelic vehicle of Yahushai, and delivers up the group called the elect, the remnant of the children of Israel. And at this particular moment, as Apostle Paul describes, within the blink of an eye, he says, we shall be changed. It says, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. It says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal shall put on immortality. So that represents a spiritual body. The hopeful elect, the people on earth today, are in human bodies, and Apostle Paul himself spoke a lot about identifying between your flesh and your spirit. So, for example, you have a dream. You can have a spiritual. There are 2 types of dreams. When you speak to a psychologist, they'll tell you there's 2 types of dreams. There is a spiritual aspect of dreams, which they can't really put their finger on, and they would label that as a dream from the Most High. Or you have a dream which is built into your physical memory. So you go out in the day, you have certain things, certain interactions, certain patterns, certain things you're used to doing, and then you'll have dreams based around those. You might keep seeing the same person all the time, or maybe you haven't seen somebody for a long time. You think about them a lot, and then you go home, you go to sleep, they end up in your dream. So that will be a dream, is born out of your flesh through memory. When you have something like PTSD, for example, that's a and then you have these reoccurring flashbacks. It's your physical flesh that's remembering what's happened, and then it has a physical response around your body, and you can't control it. And that's because your body has learned to react in a certain way, even though you're saying no, it's fine, it's time to forget it. People get PTSD from being in war zones, but when they come out of the war zone, their body's still responding as if they're in the war zone. And that's pretty much what it is. But that's something that's, it's imprinted into your flesh, into your memory. But then, the dream or the vision from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is obviously, it's not in your memory, it's in your spiritual, like spiritual memories, your spiritual sense. So don't forget, while we sleep at night, scriptures tell us that while we sleep at night, obviously the angels, they put our instruction into the minds of men as we sleep. But getting back to that moment when Yahushua comes back, obviously, the elect, they shall be changed. They will receive these spiritual bodies. I mean, this young girl, she talks about, her spirit leaving her body, being in her spirit, obviously during the dream and so on and so forth. And you got to then think, well, then how do you know? You don't forget the other nations in the kingdom of heaven. They will look at us, the children of Israel. We will have a glow about us. We will be superior. We will be royalty. All these types of things. And what I believe is, when we get changed and we take onto that spiritual body, obviously our eyes will change. And the reason why I say that is because when I had the vision, when I first came to the truth, that was like 7 years ago. I had this particular vision, and at the end of it, I said that I saw Yahushua, and he went over the top of me. I couldn't see his face, but he was like a dark shadow, but I knew it was him. The young girl mentions a similar thing in the video, that she mentions that she couldn't really see Yahushua's face. That kind of happens. That's a reoccurring thing that I've noticed in other people. They tell you dreams. They say, yeah, I saw Yahushua, but they didn't never see the face. Some people saw someone, they don't know what his name is, and they automatically call it Jesus. Now you got it wrong, but what you saw was probably kind of right. So when I had that particular vision 7 years ago, that's how I came into the truth. That's how I found out I was a Hebrew Israelite, so on and so forth. And then about 5 days later, my wife woke up, and she woke up like in the morning, and she was kind of like upset. And then I was like, why are you upset? And she's like, I had this dream, blah blah blah. And then I asked her what the dream was about. And don't forget, this is 5 days after having the vision, so I'm already bugged out and I'm trying to work this all out. Then she has this dream. She tells me what the dream is, and she said the dream is we're in a field and it's dark. And she goes, your eyes were red, they were glowing. I was like, okay. And she said, yeah, basically you had to go. You had to go somewhere. That's why I was upset, because you had to go, and I knew you had to go, and I had no choice, but you had to go. But she goes, but your eyes were red and they were glowing. So, going back to the young girl's dream, she talks about Yahushua's eyes. She talks about another angel's eyes, and she talks about how Yahushua is wearing green, and his eyes are green. But then she says, oh, maybe they were blue. And then it's almost like, well, are they sparkling? Are they flickering like a flame? His eyes are like a flame of fire. But they don't necessarily have to be the same color as fire, but they just could glow and flicker like fire. Flicker between like blue and green. Like a what? Like a stone. Um, Now, so when you think of something like a stone, and you're automatically going to think of, the 12 tribes. I've put in here 12 tribes breastplate of Aaron, the priestly breastplate. And obviously, you should really know this. You can get I'm not going to go into the full details now, but you can get a description here. Exodus 28. Um, yeah, you can even Exodus 39. Priestly garments. It says, and of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he says, I might as well read it to be honest. And he says, he made the ephod of gold, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. It says, and they did beat the gold into thin plates and cut it into wires to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. It says they made shoulder pieces for it to couple it together, for the two edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of this ephod that was upon it was of the same according to the work thereof, of gold, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And it goes on to say, and they wrought onyx stones enclosed in ouches of gold, graven as signets are graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for the memorial of the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And it goes on to say, and he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet and fine twined linen. And it goes on, it was 4 square, and they made the breastplate double, and span was the length thereof, and span and the breadth thereof being doubled. And they set it in 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardis, a topaz, a carbuncle. This was the first row, and the second row an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row a ligure, agate, and amethyst. And the fourth row beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. And they were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. So the high priest would have worn the ephod. Back to here, the ephod. So you might have seen an image like this. Obviously, they've this is where iconoclasm starts to kick in. You're only really going to find images with a Edomite-looking type of person. But obviously, you kind of get an idea. This one's probably a little bit more. Rather than me go into detail and try and break that down, you can pretty much see a picture here. You can look this up yourself. And this is obviously the garments of the high priest. So obviously on the chest, you have the 12 tribes, a stone representing each of the 12 tribes. So here you go, gemstones of Aaron's breastplate. And so these stones represent each tribe. Yahushai is of the tribe of Judah. Now the young girl, when she described the eyes of Yahushai, first she said it was green, then she said it was blue, then she said I wasn't sure. And that's the same thing you would look at, when you saw turquoise. So she saw, this vision. She saw Yahushai. She couldn't quite make out his face, but she saw his eyes, and it's a huge possibility that the eyes were turquoise. You can't really see the colors too great here, so I decided to look them up. Like I say, the young girl. So for example, she's saying his eyes were green. If you have someone with green eyes, you look on the right hand side here, for example, this is the type of eye color you get on the earth today. Grey, blue, green, hazel, amber, brown. Black people generally have brown, and I don't know, you could say this is connected to the fact that we're humans and this it's an earthly vessel. So, but when Yahushua is described, he's described as eyes as a flame of fire. When this young girl has seen him, she says, "Well, I couldn't work out if it was blue or green, somewhere in between that, almost like it's flickering, like a fire, like it might glow, representing that spiritual power." So when you actually look up emerald, for example, you go back to the chart. Hang on, let me go back to the other one because I preferred it. This is a bit small here, but you can kind of see here now, for example, you see you can sort of like see a stone, like the sort of effect. And this is what I mean about a flame of fire, because if you take a stone like this and you shine it in the light, it will glisten like a fire, like a bit like a flame. Yahushua is of the tribe of Judah, emerald. So let's look up emerald, and there you have it. Is that blue or is it green? If you're unsure, it's I wouldn't blame you. You look at this emerald here, for example. This is green. This looks very green, but then this looks blue. This is a precious stone, and it's not a coincidence that she's describing Yahushua's eyes as greeny blue, and that's the color of emerald, which is the tribe of Judah. She described another angel in the video. She said the other angel had purple eyes. Purple. So you can have a purple garment, but have you got purple eyes? So this again, this is definitely green. You say, oh, well, humans have green eyes, but what about purple? And so again, this is going back into that spiritual body. Don't forget they say to you the eyes of the soul are the windows of the soul. So when your soul's lit up and you're in that spiritual body, maybe your eyes are like a flame of fire. I don't know, but we know that Yahushua's are, and we know that obviously from what the young girl described, she described the angel also as having purple eyes. So you look up here, the tribe of Asher, top right hand corner, and they give you amethyst. So you go to this particular stone here. Now look at this. So she's describing the other angel's eyes as being purple. Which version of this, I can't really tell you, but when you shine that in the light, it will glisten, and it will sparkle like a flame. And I'm just looking at other versions of it here. I mean, you can see different versions of the stone, how the effect of the color can come out. And this is the type of thing you're going to expect to see. When you're in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have things made out of this. You're going to have buildings and the roads, whatever, made out of this kind of stuff. You read in the scriptures, it talks about precious stones and so on and so forth. And you've had other people who've had dreams before. They've described certain things. So these are the types of materials we're going to be working with. There's resources in this planet that Esau, hasn't even heard of, hasn't even seen. The Most High knows how to get them out. He knows where they are. He knows what they can do, what their benefits are. When Yahushua comes, obviously, we'll have that understanding. We'll be changed, and so we'll be on that understanding of that level. So you look around today, you look at this empire that we live in, and there's you've got these big cities, lights, all these fancy cars and these fancy buildings and all these, but really it's nothing. The fact that you look at the road, it's tarmac. You look at the pavement, it's just concrete. You look at the building, concrete, bricks, mortar. It's just stone. Stone. It's like cement is like a stone, but it's almost like the blandest stone you can get. It's just grey. we're going to have materials like this. You look at this. Look at this here. You imagine having pathways and roads made out of this type of stuff. So I can't even tell you. Our imaginations are like not even. We haven't experienced anything in this lifetime. See, this is where your spirit and your flesh start to get mixed up, because what you're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is recall on my flesh and all memories, things I've seen, to try and create something within my imagination, within the spirit, to try and work out what I'm going to see. But you can't, because we have no idea of the types of treasures that have been stored up for us. So all these people that they sell their soul to make their money in this kingdom. It's like selling your soul for a bag of shit. There's two bags. One bag's got £1 million, and one bag's got shit in it. It's a bag of shit. And then you got, this Israelite comes along, and you say, well, which bag do you want? And because he can get the bag of shit now, or you can get this bag tomorrow. And what does he do? He takes the bag of shit now, and that's what they done. P Diddy, all that money, all that lifestyle, all that. How many people jealous of the money he had over the years? They wanted to be like him, do what he's doing. Look at him now. And even if he wasn't in jail, this shit wouldn't last much longer, because Yahweh Bashim Hawashai is bringing destruction. So the riches, the things that they got in this world, is futile, because what it is, it's on a low level. And even though it's tempting to be surrounded by these things and want them, you got to remember what's coming in the future, is in the very near future, is so beyond our understanding and expectation. It's gonna blow your mind. So, but yeah, the young girl, she's talking about the eyes, the colors, and I wouldn't be surprised if the eyes, the spiritual power, within the blink of an eye, we get changed. We have that spiritual power, and then we have certain color eyes to represent our tribe. I've, for example, myself, I'm the tribe of Benjamin. And so what did I say before? When my wife had the dream, we were in the field, it was dark, I had to go. My eyes were glowing and they were red. And that dream came 5 days after me having the vision. The angel came directly to me and showed me the wild olive branch growing over the earth, told me about Hitler, told me about the small hats, told me the scriptures are for me, showed me the earth spinning. Is it Job chapter 9? 9 and 20, I think, or definitely chapter 9, I think. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So I had that. That's how I found out I was a Hebrew Israelite. 5 days later, my wife's woken up with this dream. She said, we're in the field, it's dark, your eyes are red, they're glowing, and you had to go. So now I find out that there's this thing called the tribe of Benjamin, and I'm part of it. And here we go. When you look at the jasper stone, for example, like, you've got different types of jasper. But I believe in this case, a lot of people, they tend to like show the red. What I'm trying to pick up through the spirit is obviously what the girls are seeing in the dream, what my wife saw in the dream. So, I'm taking this. This is a, I don't have actual text to prove this, but obviously this is something I'm working out through the spirit. So I'm saying, well, everybody's got these glowing eyes. What's going on? Yahweh's got the green, but they're blue. The other angels got purple. Apparently I had the red ones with my. So what does this mean? So where you obviously you got to find the answer somewhere. So this is what led me to the 12 tribe breastplate of Aaron, or the ephod. The gemstones. Here we go. Gemstones of the 12 tribes of Israel. I don't know how to get this. Here we go. No, I don't want to buy it, but just want a picture. I just want a close-up picture, but now I've got myself into a mix-up. Get lost. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but like I say, she had the dream. My wife had the dream. I've been obviously when having the vision, everything that I've experienced, my wife having that particular dream, obviously it does tell me certain things. Certain things are pretty obvious, but obviously I hope to be of the elect. So then you hope, obviously, we changed. You hope to have that spiritual body, to have that transformation. Eventually the whole kingdom of Israel will have that. You know, those that are part of the judgment on this side that don't make it through the judgment, they'll die. They'll be reborn in the kingdom of heaven. They'll be reborn righteous. As a righteous soul, they will live righteously, 100% according to the laws and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. The beauty of not tasting the second death is the fact that you actually get to experience the change. You get to see your enemy destroyed while you're not part of the trouble, and then Lord willing, you're part of that number to be delivered up, and then you'll feel that change. What Apostle Paul's talking about. You'll feel it. That you'll blink, and you'll go, "Wow, I'm in this new I'm in this new body." So like I say, you may even have these your eyes, the color according to your tribe. They might be as a flame of fire, representing that spiritual power. Don't forget, Yahweh Shai said we would do what he done, but more, but greater. So we'll see what's to come. So before I go, this is Apostle Peter, First Peter chapter 1 and 4 says. I'll start at verse 3. Says, "Blessed be the Most High and Father of our Lord Yahweh Shai, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Yahushai from the dead. It says, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you." So we have this incorruptible, undefiled inheritance that doesn't fade away, reserved. It's reserved. You go to work every day and you've got these big bosses, the big wigs. They've got their car spaces reserved. You don't. You're fighting for car parking space. But when it comes to the turnaround, the trading places, what we're going to have compared to what they've got now is going to be incomparable. The immortality, the fact that we won't be able to die, the resources that we have, and obviously, living according to the laws and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, everything will work like clockwork in perfect harmony. The worldwide ecosystem, so on and so forth. This is what's reserved. You've had all these kingdoms, these empires rule the earth over all these years in all these different manners, and the perfect rulership is yet to come, and you're going to be part of that rulership. That is the perfect rulership. So looking at the rulership today and being at the bottom end of it, being oppressed by it, F it, we don't need it. It says here, but going on here, it says, yes, so to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you, who are kept by the power of the Most High, through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushai, the Anointed. So, Hamashiach. So, this is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for Yahushai. And if we hold on to this truth, it says here, we might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing, Is what was the question? Who can withstand at the appearing, of pretty much Yahweh Shai, coming in the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. It says, well, the scriptures tell you the elect, and we hope to be of the elect that might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. We want to see that, we hope to see Yahweh Shai, we hope to be of that number, we hope to experience that change, and, be changed within the blink of an eye. So before I go, I'm going to leave you with this. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 1. At the minute we're suffering from verses 15 down, which is the consequences of disobedience. We're under these curses. This is why we're in this low state that we're in at the minute. However, when Yahweh Shai comes, obviously that deliverance, then that's when the change takes place. Being beamed up into the air, being changed within the blink of an eye, and now you're pure, you're clean, you're in that spiritual body, and that's when the blessings begin. It says, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 1, it says, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So you've got all these people out there, these Christians, these anti-messiahs, what they call anti-Christians. They try to use the fact that the Gentiles can be drafted in. Oh, the Gentiles can be drafted in because of what Apostle Paul said. We tell you no. Those Gentiles are Israelites living amongst the other nations, not the Gentiles as in the other nations. And they say no, 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 and we say yes, 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 yes. But it tells you here the blessings. Part of the blessing for the children of Israel is to set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So if the other nations can be drafted in to the blessings, how are we going to be above them? So you can't draft yourself in by being of the other nation and claiming to be a Gentile, and that's why you're a believer of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. It doesn't work. Obviously the Gentile is goes back to an Israelite living amongst the other nations as the other nations, not knowing he's an Israelite, not knowing his customs, his laws, or commandments. That's all going to turn around. And this goes on to say that Yahweh, thy power, will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So all nations, the Gentiles in terms of the other nations, this is where you come into play, and you come into under subjection of the children of Israel. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. It says, blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and increase of thy kine. It says, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out. It says, for Yahweh shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. And this is why I always tell you, these other nations, they don't want the children of Israel to come around calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, because as it tells you, they shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. When we do what? When we call on Yahweh our power. It says it like, how many? Yahweh thy power, Yahweh thy power, Yahweh thy power, 3 times. And then it goes on to say, and they shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. Yahweh shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. You don't want the Hebrew Israelites to come around calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. So the blessings are coming. We're very close to it. The things that we'll get in that time, you can't imagine. How do you even imagine living forever in a body that doesn't age, with spiritual power that can't be killed? You could just that bit alone. Trying to imagine that. How do you imagine? Try and imagine being changed from the flesh body that you are into a spiritual body within the blink of an eye. It's very difficult to imagine. Some of the things that are set before us in the kingdom of heaven are way beyond, sorry, our imagination. And these dreams, these visions, they all help to bring us understanding and so on and so forth. So I hope that was edifying. I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kwadash. And until next time, Shalom.